This is the Razer Deathstalker Chroma from Razer, obviously. Welcome guys to the first ever product review on my channel. I decided to do this off my own back about a keyboard that I'd purchased myself because after a few days of using it, I just think it's the best keyboard I've ever used as a YouTuber. For a YouTuber, it suits me absolutely perfectly, and now I'm going to tell you why I think it is a really good keyboard. So what is it? It is the Razer Deathstalker Chroma, as I said in the intro. This is part of their product line that has a few different iterations. You've got the Chroma that we're featuring today, the Elite, Ultimate, the Expert Razer Deathstalker, and the Essential Razer Deathstalker, all having their own little attributes and slight differences. Now, personally, I chose this one because of the low-profile chiclet keys. Now, I was worried about getting something that looked kind of like laptop keys, but they're just a little bit taller at 2mm as a comparison to most laptops that are probably even smaller than that. They're probably about 1mm or so. These just feel so good to use, and they're so quiet. That's the main thing I needed, was a keyboard that would be quiet to type with and quiet to game with. As a YouTuber and Twitch streamer who's got his microphone pretty close to his keyboard out of necessity, it's really good to have keys that aren't picked up by the microphone at all. And speaking of keys, I'm not quite sure what they've done to achieve this, but they're both smooth and not slippery at all. So it's very nice to glide your fingers across the top, but they're not so smooth as that you're just sliding over all the keys on some of those keyboards that have really, really smooth plastic. There's just no grip to them and sometimes no texture at all. This is kind of like a very, very... they're smooth, but they're grippy, and they haven't got like a rubberized texture on, so... However they've managed to do that, that is pretty damn cool, and I like that as a feature. Some other great features that will be really good for YouTubers, streamers, and gamers in general is the gaming mode option that allows you to deactivate certain keys that are infamous for getting knocked during pretty intense gameplay, like the Windows key, Alt-Tab, all those kind of things, because there are a lot of games these days that are using more and more keys, more and more buttons on your controller as well, but more and more keys, and it's very easy in some games to accidentally hit Alt and Tab at the same time without meaning to. So there's a way to deactivate that on the keyboard altogether, so you don't run the risk of accidentally tabbing out of a game during the worst possible moments. It also features a fixed wrist rest, which while I am using it, I'm still using the big gel one that I've had for X amount of years now, but the actual built-in wrist pad, it's a fixed one, is really nice. It's very plasticky, but it's both smooth and grippy if enough pressure is applied to it, so you can slide across the keyboard totally without having that rubberized texture that sometimes is uncomfortable after long gaming periods. And again, speaking of the keys, it also features, and you're probably not ever going to need it, but it's nice that it's there, it has a 10-key rollover in the gaming mode, so it's just basically anti-ghosting. So if for some unfathomable reason that you need to press 10 keys at once without causing problems, you can. And the features to do with the keys don't end there, because obviously it's a keyboard. Each individual key, apart from the ones that I've just mentioned, are fully programmable, so you can set up whatever you want, you can change things, you can add macros, you can record those macros on the fly, and then press play and have them do it straight away. No need to set up or change anything. You can further tweak those options within the software itself. And speaking of the software, the Razer Synapse Software is really good to work with now. I know a few people complained about the really early iterations of it, but now it works really well, and there's a lot you can do with it. There is a lot of color customization options, and you have 16.8 million colors to play with, and you can actually color each area individually. So you have this one section of the main keyboard, then you have the arrow keys and the feature keys above that, and then the numpad keys. So you have all these color variations. You could have solid colors, you could have flashing colors, you could have the wave effect, which is really nice, and you can have multiple profiles and then use the function key to switch between them. So when I'm not gaming, I can have the wave effect on, it looks nice and pretty, and it's not distracting at all while gaming, and then I can simply press function and 2, and then I can switch it to just backlit white, and then I can see my keys in the dimness of the room very, very happily. And although it's quite a big keyboard, it has a very, very low profile, slightly offset when you have the feet up at the back, which have also got rubber grips on, which all keyboard manufacturers should be doing now. Please, rubber grips on the Razers at the back. It's very much appreciated and keeps this keyboard nice and still. It's going nowhere. The back of the keyboard is very minimalistic. There's no cable tidies, there's no fancy features, just more rubber grips where those rubber grips are needed, and they're raised just enough so if you did need to run a cable when you've got the feet out, you could probably run one underneath the keyboard quite happily. Also worth mentioning, the standard things that you see on these kind of keyboards these days is a few function keys that will then allow you to like change the volume, press play, pause, skip forward, skip backwards, that kind of thing. But there's not really any proper media shortcuts on this keyboard. It's a gamer's keyboard at heart, not really a media center keyboard with lots of features for changing audio options on the fly. Not so much, very, very basic. And again, although it's quite a large keyboard with that built-in wrist rest, it's quite light as well. So if you were going to a LAN party, for example, you could take it with you quite easily with no major issues. Another great feature of the Synapse software is that because you log in these days to practically everything, logging into the Synapse software, you can then take your profiles with you. So if you go to a LAN party with your friends, you don't have to set up all your custom colors again. You can just re-download them there and then on the spot and get back to doing what you should be doing, which is the gaming. So all in all, guys, I am really happy with my purchase and I can genuinely recommend it to everyone, especially YouTubers. Now, just to break things down, to keep things really, really simple, I'll now break it down into pros and cons. So, first, pros. It's a really light keyboard, the lighting effects are amazing, the keys feel great, and they're perfect, especially for me doing YouTube videos. It's perfect that they're quiet. The low profile means you've got a great response time compared to a mechanical keyboard because they're so low. You generally are pressing things a lot faster than most people probably will be doing unless they've got even thinner keys. The macro options that you can record on the fly and the 10-key rollover anti-ghosting feature is going to be great for gamers and great for games where if you need to be holding a key down for a long period of time, you can just quickly set something up with a macro and then keep your character running or whatever in survival games. And the feature to be able to deactivate certain problem keys while gaming is also something that should probably be standard now on all gaming keyboards, if not all keyboards in general with Windows. And now to move on to the cons, the things that are not so good. As I mentioned earlier, it is kind of a shame that there's no dedicated media buttons, so you can't do more with this particular keyboard, but for the price point of all the things that it does have and all the things that it does do, I think it's pretty justified. But again, it would have been nice to have the option there to use. It may have been a nice addition to have some kind of cable tidy. It's not a massive long cable that it's got, but it's adequate to go around a desk and then to your system that may be on the opposite side of your desk or at the end of your desk. I believe it's probably about 2 meters long. But again, if you've got your system right next to where your keyboard's going to be, it would have been nice to have somewhere to route the cable. And last but certainly not least, it's only a minor niggle, and I think it's a feature that is actually possible on some of the other variants of this keyboard and other manufacturers' keyboards, is the ability to individually select colours of keys. It would have been nice to highlight some specific keys for specific games and set up profiles for that, so you don't have to forget what keys are used in a game that you've not played in a while. That would have been a really nice feature, even just to colour the WASD keys. That would have been nice, but unfortunately you can't do it. That could be changed in a software update, perhaps. I don't know, but it would be nice if they could do that. And while not necessarily a con per se, obviously it isn't a mechanical keyboard. Some people swear that they'll never use anything other than a mechanical keyboard, and that's fine. But my personal preference as a YouTuber and streamer, the silence of the keyboard is more important to me than having big chunky keys. I would like big chunky keys because it feels a lot nicer to use for FPS shooters and stuff, but for eliminating background noise, that's a higher priority to me personally than any other kind of creature comforts for a keyboard to have. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, you know what to do. You press that like button and you press subscribe. That's all you have to do. It's quite easy actually. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. See you in another video very soon, and if you like this product review, do let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to review for my own system and setup, then please let me know in the comments below, and I will try to get that done as soon as possible. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.